you check the children? Show a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Greetings, Fright fans, and welcome to the horror show. I'm Jaime and Fuego, and so very stoked to be bringing you a patron-requested review from my dude, Sam Glass, and this is actually kind of a double down. It's a 2 for 2 because I filmed this, a month or so ago, and I'm in the midst of going back to school at Arizona State, and there was some, file corruption, whatever, hey, shit happens, and so I am giving my secondary thoughts on the Michael C. Hall film. Yeah, Cold in July, which was Sam's request. And this is, interestingly enough, not super on the scarific side of things. It's a Joe R. Lansdale. I just want to make sure that I'm not butchering said name, but I love Joe because of the fact that, Bubba Hotep, come on, guys, what are you gonna do? But he has done lots of other short horror and thriller fiction, which has been very intriguing and engaging and interesting and badass. And so shout out to Joe, who was the guy who wrote this. And so directed by, once again, I'm gonna have to consult Jim Mickle, I want to say. I could have done that without actually looking at the proper phone just for just proper confirmation. But in any event, man, Jim Mickle did Stakeland. He did We Are What We Are. He's a prolific horror director, and so this movie hits you hard initially, with the concept alone. So imagine if you were sleeping and there's a just foreign person, there's an invader, there is somebody who's not supposed to be in your fucking house. Yeah, and they are most definitely there. And so what Michael C. Hall, also known as Dexter to many, unfortunately, fortunately based on performance, unfortunately if you get my drift there. But yeah, so he has somebody, his character, being in Texas and everything, and very much of the law and just take it upon yourself. Yeah, he brings out a weapon and he kills this person. That's what it is. But it's where the mystery of everything else that's transpiring that unravels that is especially intriguing about this particular film, because of the fact that there is a underlining aspect about everything, and it just slightly and slowly unravels itself over the course of things. Sorry, I'm hearing walking in the background and stuff, and we're on the second level of the horror show studios here. But yeah, it gives you kind of an impression about what's transpiring initially, and then everything really just exponentially expands, which is really interesting about this. And so yeah, overall impressions, guys, I was impressed by this movie. Most notably, Michael C. Hall playing a role that I was not expecting from him. There was almost on Dexter a cool confidence within him that is lacking in this. This is a main character that is wrought with self-doubt and just very much wondering if they are, dare I say, man enough to really try to figure out what they are caught in the midst of. And the guy does, from my estimation at least, really nothing wrong, but he is still being just entrenched in a situation where you could still find some fault. And so for that reason, hey, props on Michael C. Hall for just really being a character that you feel bad for, and you're oh, he's kind of a pussy, kind of a wimp, But props to him in that regard. And it's really, as we segue into story, Sam, where this film becomes incredibly intriguing because of the fact that there is this person that is killed by Michael C. Hall's character, and then you realize quite quickly that there is police cover-up stuff going down. That person who was shot and who his character is led to believe he, ended the life of. It's a little bit different. There is some significant sort of stuff that is transpiring. And so, for that reason, I loved the mystery aspect of it. It kind of reverts into, how do I even properly describe it? And like more so like a murder revenge sort of situation in the back half of it. And I still dig that, but it's not really what I would necessarily like seek out as far as like, personal favorite sort of subgenre of like horror, or in this case, as we're like pivoting to like, thriller action and, Death Wish sort of shit. So I don't know, but the presence of Don Johnson is nice. He is solid in this, and but it's really the Michael C. Hall show. We also get the son, Wyatt Russell. Yeah. Kurt Russell, and so the sibling of the eternally lovely Kate Hudson, Wyatt Russell, is in this. He's in kind of a smaller role, but he's awesome in the bits that we actually get the opportunity. So the reason that I'm just kind of like looking away and like kind of wondering is because of the fact that I feel like with Nickel directing, with a Joe R. Lansdale film, they were developing this for like a decade. All right, this film could have been like as kick-ass as imaginable, but unfortunately it's kind of relegated to the wayside. It's almost like kind of like Copland in that degree, where you're like, okay, great people associated, very just captivating story, on the presentation. And yet, everything else, like, I don't know. There was something lacking in it that is tough to determine, tough to define, tough to, I don't know, tough to pin down. So, at the end of the day, man, I really 100% adored Michael's performance and going against cast, or like, typecast, whatever. Him doing something drastically, distinctively, interestingly different was awesome. Loved it. And everything else beyond that, it just, and especially because of the film, it loses some steam in the back half, and there was this big confrontation when you're talking about, like pornographic presentation and smut films and all this other stuff. This movie veers into that territory, okay? But it doesn't do it in as compelling of a variety as I was maybe anticipating. But I don't know. It was still very good for like maybe 2/3. And for that reason, Sam, I'm not going to say that I love this movie, but I respect it. And I especially enjoyed it. And I loved what happens halfway through, where there is a teaming up, without spoiling, of a couple people who you were like, oh man, there's no way in hell that this would even be a possibility. And yet it is. And so that was what made the movie for me. Still kind of disappointing, unfortunately. But what did you guys think about this particular film? Cold in July. It's one of those that was undersung. It's streaming on Amazon Prime currently, if I'm not mistaken. And so, it was a film that I feel like anticipated getting significantly more attention than it actually, garnered. And so, what are you going to do about that? Well, you just have to roll with those proverbial punches and just kind of, hang down and see what the hell is transpiring. But I liked it. I did. That's the one thing that I want to declare and make fair and true, is that even though I didn't love it, I quite liked it. So, that is my thoughts for Sam Glass and his Patreon request here for Cold in July. I've been Jaime and Fuego, and more importantly, you have been here on the Horror Show, and we appreciate the hell out of you guys. It is rad status if you are checking out this review, if you are just keeping an eye on the channel as we are in the midst of some transformation, and most notably for the presentation, Dylan's New Nightmare. It's gonna be friggin' rad, man. I very much look forward to everybody getting the chance to check that stuff out. And yes, if you are wanting to support the channel, it is significantly appreciated. And yeah, just give a film recommendation, whatever it may be. I or anybody else here on the crew, Robert, Cecil, myself, Susie, Marcia, who is still very much a part of the proceedings despite being various states away. Hey, we're still doing it for you guys. So, I've been Fuego, y'all have been Radstats, and yeah, till next time, Fred fans, remember, stay scared.